Public Service and Administration Minister Inkosi Mzamo Buthelezi says he has embarked on an audit to determine how many government officials are on suspension with full pay. Now, this as the Public Service Commission estimates that government is spending at least 240 million rand on suspended public officials. Both the minister and the PSC say they cannot say with certainty just how many public servants are on suspension. Now, this has emerged on the sidelines of the inaugural meeting of the chairpersons of the Public Service Commission of the SADC region being held in Cape Town currently. SABC News senior reporter Bulelani Phillip is attending that meeting in Cape Town.
As the convener of this forum of the chairpersons of the Public Service Commissions in the SADC forum, what is the objective of this gathering?
It's to create a common platform for the public service oversight bodies which ensure accountability and good governance, share experiences, mobilize resources together. Because remember, administrations come and go, but the administration in terms of the bureaucracy is what is always there. As I said in my opening remarks, the average person's experience of the quality of any democracy is their interaction with public service. So if we professionalize public service, make sure that it is ethical, it is developmental in its orientation, and it is capable, then it will go a long way to do the service delivery issues, to support any administration that comes. It will go a long way to create an investment environment, but more importantly, we are here to be that support system in the integration of the region itself. As you see the trend, the most prosperous regions are the ones which are most integrated, whether it's the European Union or the ASEAN region or any other region, because in this globalized environment, regions have to come together. And this is one way of making sure that we do that.
You talk about people leaving a legacy versus people leaving a vacancy. In your term as the chairperson of the Public Service Commission of South Africa, what legacy would you like to leave?
A legacy where public service is professionalized, a legacy where an annual report is not looking good when the people on the ground are feeling miserable. A responsive public service, but also a public service that anticipates these coming changes and be ready and be future-proof in whatever it is doing. And a public service that is ethical, having learned from this state capture and other corruption reports what the mistakes were, what the weaknesses are, and create something that is responsive to the needs of people, and ultimately a people-centered and service-oriented public service.
The Public Service Commission, in your view, is it independent, given that you still rely on the fiscus for support?
Public Service Commission ideally ought to be independent, but for now its secretariat is under a government department, and we equally monitor the same government department that we are actually supposed to be independent from. That's why the minister, we really were encouraged when he said he's going to support this Public Service Commission bill that is going to realize our independence. Then we start behaving like other independent entities, such as your Auditor General, such as your Public Protector, your Human Rights Commission, where the Secretariat is not under a department, but it is independent. In that form, we will play and unleash our role. And also our role is being expanded to include local government, to include public entities. And that's the forum of this nature. Like Mauritius already have a Public Service Commission that looks at local government. So we'll learn from some of these examples.
Now, the issue of the suspensions, people being at home for extended periods of time. As a Public Service Commission, what role are you playing to ensure that at least you advise government of how to deal with these disciplinary hearings timeously?
Our advice was very simple. We communicated to the previous administration. If you are not sure how many people are suspended, are sitting at home with full pay, in violation of the Public Service Administration regulations of saying you can only suspend a person for 60 days, and it can only be extended when the chairperson of that disciplinary system. It's not supposed to be a punishment, but rather a space to investigate so that you can take proper measures. But now we wrote and said, if we do not know which department has suspended how many people, it's better to have a defined date, which was November last year, where everybody comes back to their department and say, I've been suspended for 7 years, I've been suspended for 5 years, and so forth. And only then we could be able to tell who is suspended where, how many, and how much are we paying. Imagine what that does in the morale of people who have to pay for fuel, who have to travel to work every day, knowing that their colleague is just earning salary sitting at home, doing studies, starting business. And some of the people may not even be around right now. They might be in Australia, Canada, and elsewhere and still being paid.
So we don't know.
At this stage, until we say come by a certain date, we're dealing with estimates. We wrote to departments. We realized that the more we were trying to reconcile the figures they were giving us and what was there, the numbers just kept shifting. That's why I can't give you a definitive figure. We even tried to estimate how much is the state paying for people who are sitting at home. And remember, here we're talking of suspensions. We then realized there was another category of special leave. Some of those had also been at home for years, and we would want to clean that system. And the problem here is that we've been trying to check for this small crocodile there and so forth. And the system we're proposing as the Public Service Commission, we said, drain the swamp. Then you'll know immediately how many crocodiles are there.
Are you able to give us confidence on the estimates of the number and the value? At your last count, at least.
Yeah, at the last count, they were saying it is above 300, but others were saying it could be more than 1,000. And we were spending to the tune of 240 million. For a country whose debt burden is increasing, we cannot afford to have one single individual sitting at home. Remember, those who are asked to act in their roles were not appointed for those roles.